The new survivor's abilities revealed? Let's begin. Welcome back to another episode, guys. Let's get into talking about what we're getting this week. So this week, technically yesterday, not even something that's coming for the rest of this week, we got the Identity V China Academy of Art crossover, part 2 technically. This came on the 30th of September, so it's already happened, and we got the Wu Chang skin that is available for free. I didn't take notes of what it was called, but we do have a cool image of what it looks like in game. I finally wanted to see what it looked like. I'm not a big fan of the white guard form, but I do like the kind of thick dark lines around the outside of the dark skin, the kind of blackguard version. I think I would probably just play in blackguard the entire match if I got this skin. As for some more content that we're getting this week, we're getting more IVS tournament news, as there's currently a big tournament thing going on right now, tons of teams playing against each other. If you go and check out Identity V's official kind of Twitter feed or any of their other social medias, you'll see that they're just posting image or after video after image after video, stats and all these things for tournament news, so not really too much related to what we're getting this week. And another thing that we're getting this week is a character day, and it's going to be for Dream Witch on the 2nd of October, and it's going to be her 5th character day, meaning she's getting a wall hanging portrait. I'm very curious to see what her wall hanging will look like, because I'm a big fan of Dream Witch's appearance. She looks very, very cool. As far as I know, that's all that we're getting this week, or that's all that's been confirmed. You can imagine there'll be a ton of bug fixes for more game engine fixes, as they usually do, but that's all that we know so far. So let's talk about what we're getting from the future, and it looks like we're getting quite a decent amount of stuff. The first thing that was announced just last week about what's coming from the next Essence, I'd assume, is the new Survivor Knight and all of his abilities. Last week we talked about his story, but since then we've got a very detailed version of his skills, and of course he'll be added to the test server probably very soon, so we'll be able to see some adjustments to the timings of his abilities, the durations, cooldowns and stuff like that. His first external trait ability is called Tactical Foresight, also called Constraint Form. With this ability, Knight puts on his helmet and also kind of puts a sword in front of him, and with this ability you can make up to 2 predictions. You don't have to make 2, you can make 1, but it's up to 2. For the first prediction, Knight can choose between the hunter using a basic attack or using an ability. For the second prediction, Knight can choose between basic attack, ability use, or just the hunter doesn't use attack or ability, so it's essentially called do nothing. If the hunter then uses the action the Knight predicted, the hunter will be hit by a special type of effect depending on which one you predicted correctly. For a correct guess of a basic attack, the hunter's attack won't happen and then they will be stunned and the Knight will get a short burst of speed. For a correct guess of an ability use, so they use an ability and you predicted that beforehand, this will cancel that ability and all abilities of the hunter will be blocked for a period of time. You'll see like a glowing effect around the hunter, like a red glowing effect. And for a correct guess of the hunter does nothing, so doesn't use a basic attack, doesn't use an ability, the Knight will get a shield around himself that halves the damage of the next attack. This shield doesn't last indefinitely, of course, there is a limitation. I don't want to really talk about how long all these abilities last for, how long they have to wait for the cooldowns and stuff like that, because they might change in the test server. So I'm just giving you guys a basic idea of what this character's abilities are. His other external trait is Chivalrous Sympathy. Within a short radius of a rocket chair, with somebody on it of course, Knight can rescue a chair survivor from a distance. Both the rescued survivor and Knight will receive a shield for a short period of time that halves the damage. Similar to how if you kind of predict the hunter does nothing, you get a shield, but now both survivors, one of the person who rescued and of course the person that was rescued, will get a protection shield. Knight can be terror shocked whilst doing this rescue animation though, so you gotta be careful. It's not just a free rescue or anything like that. I also didn't mention before, but the Tactical Foresight, the first ability that I explained with the predictions, does have a decreased effect if you use it when there are other survivors nearby. So if somebody else is getting chased and you want to use this ability to harass, the effects are weakened slightly. The duration of how long it lasts and stuff like that are a little bit weaker, and you have to be within a certain radius of the hunter before you're even allowed to use a prediction. And his final external trait is All Thumbs. This is the same debuff as all characters that have All Thumbs have, and this is that he gets a decoding speed decrease. And this one is up to 15% right now, but could be adjusted in the test server. Let's talk about some more content that we should be getting from the future, and that will include the ZQ 2020 IVL Autumn Champion Pet. Yes, this is from 2020. I'm pretty sure that we're currently in 2024, so I'm not really sure why we're getting a pet that's from 2020 or from the champion team. But anyway, it's an A-tier pet, and it looks like 2 birds or 2 phoenixes that I'm very interested in that are inside of like a special egg, and they bounce around. They've got some very cute animations. We don't really know when this is coming per se, but they said that it's going to be available quite soon. NetEase just recently released a Q&A answering a ton of different questions, none of which were super exciting, but we did get to see some adjustments that are coming to characters, at least in the next coming weeks or maybe next coming months, as some of them are coming at the end of this season. We can see that Toy Merchant is going to get an adjustment at the end of the season, possibly. Gravekeeper will get a buff, Professor will get buffed and they are already planning his changes. Violinist will get buffed and the adjustments have already been planned and will be added to the test server at the end of this season. And Goatman will be nerfed, although I'm not really sure if Goatman will be nerfed at the end of the season or if they're planning on doing it soon, because he's a newer character. They usually kind of push out adjustments for characters quite quickly because of course they're worried about him being too strong for too long. They announced some upcoming character model improvements that I think they have mentioned in previous Q&As before, but they hadn't really given us many details. They've told us that they're going to give us improvements for facial models. I don't really know if this is for all characters across the board with their default skins, or if this is only for the default characters that you get at the beginning of the game. But anyway, they're going to give us improvements for facial models, hair, hands, and even more details. And they're also planning to release this at the end of November, because there are so many different adjustments happening for characters that they've had to kind of release it a little bit later than they planned, apparently. How about the esports series skins? In which order are they going to release? Well, NetEase has told us that of course we've just got Mercenaries one, so we already know that one's already been out, but we'll also be getting Antiquarians next, and then Prisoners, and then finally we're getting Cheerleaders. So I'm not really sure exactly when those are coming, but they should be coming relatively soon, possibly, maybe very soon. I don't really know. There's a live stream that NetEase is going to do soon that should give us tons of information about upcoming content. This live stream should happen on October 18th and may possibly even give us a preview of the news story event, the Hullabaloo Circus event. I can't remember what it's called, and as far as we know that's coming in November, so this is going to be pretty close to the event, but I'm really curious to see which characters are going to be involved. And NetEase mentioned that they are still working on fixes for the strange appearances of some accessory effects, skin effects, and more that may have become too bright or too dark, or even possibly just look abnormal in general after the new game engine update. I've heard that some skins look like kind of giant lights as they're so bright and they weren't that way before the game engine update, and then there are people talking about how some things will just become too dark or dull or something like that. So they are going to be adjusting those things over time as they keep on releasing more fixes. Just expect NetEase to release things more slowly as they have a lot of things to fix, lots of bug fixes, and all those people that just can't get into the game right now, hold hope and definitely contact NetEase with all of the information about your device. Maybe the device is not supported, or maybe it's just a bug and they will be able to give you a patch update that will fix it. The more that you tell them, the more information they can get to be able to fix all of these issues. So don't just stand by and kind of watch the game disappear as you can't play it anymore. Go and be proactive and go and tell them all of the information that they might need to be able to solve your specific issue. See that video that's on the screen right there? That's my reaction, my live reaction to the new Survivor Knight when he was released, all of his abilities. It took me a little bit of time to understand them, so go and see my confusion as I slowly begin to understand his abilities.